It's episode 4 of Chernobyl. This one is titled "The Happiness of." Is it all mankind or mankind? One of the two. I'm sorry. Um, God. Okay, first thing I want to say is, I am now afraid of pencils. Like I don't want to be anywhere near graphite. Or is it? Is that the same thing as inside a pencil? I don't want to have nothing to do with it. This movie is, or this miniseries has made me afraid of the number two pencil. I never thought that would be a thing, but it has. So, um, this episode, I believe I probably had somewhere around 20 minutes left in this particular episode, and I was all I was ready to be up in arms and just have so many gripes about this episode. Like this is like I don't like that, and I don't like. And then I watched the complete. I finished watching the episode and was like, it was masterfully constructed. Without hands down, it was masterfully constructed. Right. So this particular episode starts off. I mean, pretty uneventful. I mean, they're racking their brains on how they're going to uh, seal up this massive crater where this reactor used to be. They're racking their brains trying to figure out how to do it. Um, we're also introduced. I'm constantly going back to Saving Private Ryan and Fury, and these are war movies. I'm going back to these war movies where you're introduced to this young and naive character who's had no training in the job that they've been assigned to, and to make matters even more outrageous, wrong choice of word. To make matters even more crazy, the kid that we're introduced to is not even in the military, but he's assigned to a group of guys whose job it is to kill all animals. Like I guess they it was easy enough to take care of the livestock because they kind of don't run around, but now they've moved on to domesticated animals mostly, so they're mostly taking care of dogs. The introduction of these characters is something else, right? Um, and this is one of the gripes that I had, like, loaded in the chamber, ready to shoot. I was like, why are they spending so much time on the killing of domesticated animals? It's like, at the end of the day, it has to be done. They're not my pets. Um, Now, realistically, could I do that job? I don't think so. I don't think so. But I know it's not even evil. It's just necessary. Um, I get why it has to be done, but I don't know why they were spending. I was like, why? Why would they waste? Not waste, but why is there so much energy put into showing these acts? I mean, they do it tastefully. They don't just show somebody just shooting away an animal. They do it tastefully. And even the head guy seems to be a bit of a dickhead, but he's aware of their deaths need to be quick, not necessarily painless, but quick. Um, so as that's rolling along, um, the young kid we're introduced to, he finds he comes to terms with what he has to do. I believe, and he starts to become more and more effective until they come to an instance closer towards the end of the episode where you know they've created a system. So they they start off by going into a new area. They do simple. I know I did like three or four, but they do simple calls like that. These are domesticated animals. They come out. Hey, is that my master? Whatever the case may be. They pop off as many as they can. Then they go door to door, and in the process of doing that, the kid finds a mother dog with like 9 or 10 puppies, and he's just standing there like I can't. He's stuck. And the guy's like, he's like, you know what, just go outside. He takes care of it, and they have to put it. It's a lot, and they wind up, you know, bringing it back to a burial site, and they have to bury these animals in concrete. But I don't think I mentioned in the last episode they showed some of the first responders to the initial explosion. They're putting uh, metal coffins laid in the ground on metal strips and then buried in concrete. So wow, well, that's a lot. Um, it, it, I just feel like it was just masterfully done. But you know, I was still asking myself why so much. Why are they focusing so much on that? It's sort of a stepping stone because you have to remember we're still connected to that young mother, and by this point in the story, she's close to giving birth, and it comes up. She has to give birth, and it's like, what's going to be the outcome of that? They don't show it, but they show her sorrow and how broken of a person she is after carrying a child for all those months, giving birth, and then losing that child within 4 hours. You get to witness that, and I think being prepared by uh, the task of taking out these domesticated animals versus human life being affected by by this explosion, it helps ease you into it, but it's still not an easy pill to swallow. I feel like. Um, what else happens in this episode? Oh, they're they, so they've been using robots uh, like moon rovers and things of that nature uh, in order in order to, without risking the lives of any humans, to get rid of the highly radioactive material and put it into the pit. So, but the problem with it is there's uh, there's one place where the radiation is too high. It destroys any, because in reality everything is organic. Everything is organic matter. Everything's made up of atoms. But the fact that they get this they get this robot from Germany, and you still run into this, I don't know what to even call it. I'm assuming, hopefully I'm not misusing this word, bureaucracy, I guess, of the Russian machine, that they're still not being 100% honest about the situation. So when they get this piece of equipment, it's designed to tolerate a certain level of radiation, but in fact, it's like 10 times over that. That is going to, the environment it's going to be in, so it automatically fails. So they're like, we can't close this up until we deposit all of the debris inside. That's the only way we can do it. So it's like, what are we going to do now? There's nothing that exists that can withstand that much radiation. Um, he's like one of the guys that's in there thinking, he's like, oh, let's just use biorobots. And they're like, what are you talking about? Biorobots. We're going to have to use humans. No, no, no. They decided not to use them, but then it comes to a point where they have to. So they sacrifice some more men volunteer to complete this task, and they do a fantastic job of creating tension and building anxiety in me as a viewer as I'm watching uh, this person struggling to, gets 90 seconds to go out there and pick up as many pieces of contaminated material as he can, and chuck it into this pit. I mean, and this guy is stumbling and bumbling, and he throws it in there, but he winds up ripping his protective suit. So I mean, he really doesn't have that much of a chance to begin with. But now he's really out of there because he's ripped his suit and he's fell in a puddle of water, and it's just like the camera work is amazing. The angle of the sunlight, everything just comes together. And it's also that one scene I feel like is the best representation of this episode. It's constructed in a way to where you're along for the ride and you're going up and down, and then you just stop and it's dead silence. You see all the heartache and you see all the frantic moments and the anxieties built up. It's perfect on so many levels. And before I forget, now it comes to the point where they're going to have to point the finger at somebody. So the truth of the matter is, yes, all the managers and people who were in charge of this plant are at fault, but uh, government. I don't even know how to phrase this. I've never seen anything or heard anything like this. Officials in the government are also at fault too because they knew there was an issue with this style of reactor, but they omitted it just to make it seem like it was perfect. But they're not living in reality by doing that, and they do another outrageous number out there that there's X amount. I didn't pay attention. I should have wrote it down. There's X amount of reactors that are just like this one operating currently in that country during the time of this during that time period, and they all have the same fault. So they have to rectify that, or they could have this incident happen. It's just like it doesn't make any sense. So many times, I'm lost for words. This episode did a lot to draw me back in. I think this is the fourth one. I think the third one kind of was like the complete third episode, and probably the majority of this particular episode kind of had me thinking like, well, there's not that much story left. But now they've reset the fire uh, as far as uh, as far as the content and what I want to watch coming up. So this is probably one of the better episodes, to be honest with you.